What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. Hopefully you guys having a great start to the week. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the Yuletide Deck of Fate event, where you guys can pick up the guaranteed HILVI the Rime Called champion. Now, we talked about this a little bit on the weekend when they revealed what exactly was going to be happening with this event. Let's jump into it. So we got the Yuletide Deck of Fate. Like I said, it started a couple hours ago. And the objectives will be to get artifacts and accessories and summon souls from soul stones. Yeah, that's not necessarily the easiest one because soul stones are just not that easy for newer players to get. I guess shards are not either, but soul stones are even harder. All right, here we go. So going down the quick list of goodies here that are available. The Fate chest, if you get 3 of these rarities in a row, you're going to pick up one of these goodies as well. And then we're going to talk about how to get these fake crystals, which is getting artifacts and accessories. And here are the point breakdowns and then the soulstone breakdown here. 70, 700, and then 3,500 for the big guy. So this is the same soulstone breakdown as Raphael. The dungeon breakdown is also the same. The reward structure is actually quite different from Raphael. I'm going to bring that up on screen right now so we have a comparison. All right, so during the Raphael Deck of Fate, there was actually Titan points involved, right? So then the Titan points are actually taking up a bunch of extra card slots. So in this case, for HILVI, we're actually getting some additional goodies here. It looks like we're getting, what? It looks like some essences, getting some oils, getting some powders. What else are we getting here? That's different. Yeah, I think that's about it. It looks like we're just getting some powders, some essences. Yeah, so instead of Titan points, I mean, it is what it is. The immediate impact is that this HILVI Deck of Fate is actually way better value than the Raphael because obviously Titan points don't necessarily equate to all the stuff that you're getting in return. You're getting 10 of the medium essence, 5 of the big essence, and then some oils and powders or whatever. Sorry, extracts. That's what they're called, extracts. Anyways, a little bit of an interesting comparison note. And like I said, the dungeon point breakdown and the soulstone breakdown is the same. I did cover that behind the scenes a little bit. Now, keep in mind, it's going to be quality of soulstone. Obviously, it doesn't matter what you pull from the soulstone. So it's always obviously good to use the bigger ones. They're just worth more points here. And 70, 700, 3,500 is not the worst. Freya was 60, 600, and 3,000. So that was pretty bad. But then hers was training event instead of dungeon diving, so that might be better for some people. But I remember the point breakdown for the training portion was actually quite bad for Freya, so I much rather prefer this dungeon diving component for HILVI. Is HILVI worth it? Absolutely. She's amazing. She got speed in all battles, great base stats, 110 base speed once she's level 60, A1 decreased defense, and then she's got a strip and freeze on the A2, and then she's got a 4-turn team revive with the block damage increased speed, and if nobody's dead, she's a Terminator booster, and then she actually does HP burn, she does Terminator steal, buff steal as well with her passive, and then she goes off like crazy with Torment. Very, very good champion. I mean, just overall very good, and with Torment, very, very nice synergy and partner bonuses there. So how are we going to get her? What is the best way to get her? What is the best way to finish off this Deck of Fate? So I did a breakdown for you guys here. The biggest difference about this Deck of Fate and the Raphael Deck of Fate is that this Deck of Fate does not include the event dungeon. Probably the best thing about the event dungeon was that you could just one-shot the stage and then basically finish the stage off very, very quickly at low levels. And that was a very efficient way of farming up points. Now I'm going to bring up on the screen right now a bit of a spreadsheet that I've been working on, and we'll talk more about dungeon efficiency for this event. So I'm going to bring that up on screen right now. All right, here we go. So I've been working on this spreadsheet in the back just because we did lose the event dungeon, so I wanted to recalculate some of the numbers that I was using from the Raphael Deck of Fate. So if you guys want a copy of this, let me know in the comments. I will make a copy of the HILVI Deck of Fate so that you guys can use the calculator, input your own values and all that stuff. But I did the kind of point calculations here for some of the popular dungeon levels. So I did do Spider 3, Dungeon 3, for example, and then I broke down Spider and Dungeons all the way up until Dungeon 16. So basically what's happening is that the dungeon levels differ from Spider levels, because Spider, you actually drop some of the uncommon rank pieces and you have different kind of weightings on some of the lower rarity pieces, so that's what kind of skews the points a little bit. So Spider and Dungeons, they don't have the same kind of point efficiency as opposed to regular dungeons. So that's kind of where you see the outlier numbers. So the big thing here to notice is that dungeon level 3. So this is normal dungeon 3. You're still going to get pretty good points per energy, just farming normal dungeons, not spider. The problem here is that you have to fight 3 waves and a boss, so it's not particularly fast, but it's still, probably super fast. And you're not going to get any gear from this. It's just going to be silver, right? So it's not even going to be great silver because you're occasionally going to get bruise. So yeah, that's not the fun part. But you're still going to get 1.25 or close to it points per energy, which is very efficient, right? So you're getting more than 1 point per energy, which is very efficient. And then we move up here, Spider 7, still trailing the Dungeon 7 equivalent. So Dungeon 7, you're going to get 1.14. And then for Dungeon 10, you're getting about 1 point per energy for regular dungeon, and then Spider is trailing there as well. So other popular areas that people like to farm or suggest is 16 and 20. So 16 and 20, you can kind of see the Spider and Dungeon point efficiency basically are lined up now. There's no more uncommon gear, no more common basically no more uncommon gear, and then differing rates for the rankings. So Dungeon 16, that's kind of when everything's kind of like the same. We can tell Dungeon 16 and Dungeon 20, same basically point efficiency breakdown. Obviously you farm as high as you can. 17, 18, 19 are not going to be as good efficiency wise as 16 or 20. So you kind of pick your poison there, whichever one you can do. If you can do 20, do 20 instead of 16, you're getting the same amount of points anyways. You're getting better shot at better loot. We're going to talk a little bit about dungeons 24 and 25. I always suggest to people to do dungeon 24 over 25, mainly because 24 is just so much better than 25. And then we can kind of see here, in this case, it's no different. 24 is significantly better than 25 in terms of just points per energy. You're just getting more, more quality gear, right? Whereas in 25, you're just getting a very slight bump in the legendary rates, but you're losing it from the total quantity of quality gear. And also keep in mind that 24 is kind of you're still using 18 energy per run, right? Whereas 25 you're using 20 energy per run, and that extra bit of energy is kind of where the efficiency comes in for 24 over 25. And then lastly, we talk about hard 10. So hard 10 is going to be better than hard 9. Hard 9 is going to be better than hard 8. Hard 8 is going to be better than hard 7. And that's kind of how it goes the entire way up to hard 10. Hard 10 is the most efficient hard level. So we're going to talk about hard 10 here, and then it comes in here at about 0.848 energy, points per energy. So that makes it better than 25. But it's going to be slightly worse than 24, and then of course it's going to be trailing 20 and then some of the more efficient dungeons. So obviously if you're doing hard 10, you're trading basically you're spending more energy to get better gear, usable gear, right? As opposed to spending less energy, but then you're never going to get a piece of gear from like stage dungeon 3, for example. So hopefully that gives you guys a rough overview of how to efficiently do this. I'm going to put it all in a nice little package here for you guys, and then you guys can use the calculator. Just give me 1 sec. All right, folks, so here we go. I'll provide a link to this spreadsheet in the description below. Make sure you guys just make a copy of it so then you guys can play around with it or anything. I'm not the best using the Excel spreadsheet formulas and stuff, but I can make do. So bear with the sloppiness a little bit here, but basically I put it real nice here. We got normal, level 3, spider, not spider, and that's going to be the most efficient points per energy for this event. And then you can kind of just spend your energy, input your energy into the green slots, and then figure out how many points and gems you will be required to finish off this event. So for example, if I want to put in let's say 20,000 energy, and then that's going to get me 25,000 total points, 25 total points, and then I'm going to have 15,000 remaining points. And I've also provided the soulstone breakdown here. So for example, if you have 100 of the mortal soulstones, and let's say you have 20 of the immortal soulstones, and then that's going to give you the running total here. Points remain minus 6,000. That means we're over by 6,000. Perfect. Everything works out, right? So like I said, guys, there's going to be a copy of this in the description below. So make sure you guys copy that and use it if you guys like. I think my general recommendation would be to First of all, wait. Do as much energy farming as you can over the next 4 days. It's a 4-day event. So do as much energy farming as you can before you open your soul stones. You might be able to save some that you otherwise don't want to spend. Personally speaking, I don't like spending soul stones outside of 2x events because first of all, they're hard to get. Second of all, the odds of them doing anything are very low. So I would like the maximum odds of them giving something decent in return. So I would definitely farm for 4 days and pull on the last day if possible. And if you're basically like a newer player or a player that has limited resources, that does not know if they're going to be able to do it, or if you're running really tight, I would definitely go for the lower level dungeons, farm basically level 3, and then get as much points as you can. You're not going to get any gear or anything useful from level 3, but you're going to get the most points. And of course, if you're an end game player, you're probably going to be farming hard 10. And if you want to kind of mix it up a little bit, you can go with level 20. Level 20 still drops 6-star gear. It might be useful and all that stuff. But we do have a Fire Knight tournament that's happening right now with a Savage boost. So that might be useful just to do the highest difficulty so that you can get your chance at some usable pieces of gear. So it really depends on your account and what you really prioritize. Like I said, if you're running really tight on the resources to get HILVI and finish off this Deck of Fate, it's probably best that you probably go for the highest point efficiency route and then forgo all gear. Keep in mind, guys, that basically I would say half the players, I think the math is half the players will need to flip the 40th card to finish off all the fragments for the deck. So that means half of the players will be pulling 39 cards or less. However, I believe the math is only 10% of people will complete the HILVI 100 fragments by the 37th card. So we have to be able to anticipate needing the point total for the entire deck to get the entire champion. If you get it with a couple cards to spare, then you did pretty good, right? But of course, if you want to be like super sweaty and efficient about it, probably farm up to 30,000 points or 37,000 points and then pull your cards there. Maybe you get lucky and then you get HILVI and then you don't need to commit any more cards. That's one way to do it as well. So don't do 40,000 and then pull 40,000 unless you just like you know what I mean. If you're low on the requirements to complete the deck, don't do 40,000 and then pull the cards. Do 35,000 and then pull all the cards. See, maybe you can get lucky, right? But like I said, 10% of you guys will probably get it on the 37th card or earlier, but it's going to be a 50-50 chance of people pulling on the 39th or the 40th card. So most likely prepare for 40 card flips. The other interesting thing that usually they do is actually sell some of these Deck of Fate points as like bundles and stuff. They actually don't have it in the shop, at least in my shop, they don't have it. So I was going to talk about the point breakdown here for the points if they were to sell it. Usually if they were to sell points here, it's never the best efficiency. So if you guys want to be just efficient, just buy energy instead and then just spend it in the dungeons. Obviously it takes a little bit of time, but what you give up in time, you save in money, I guess. But they're not for sale right now, at least not from what I see. And of course, if you're using the calculator and you're coming up short on the points a little bit, you do have a little bit of a saving grace here because there is a boosted event for the Mortal Soul Stones, which means that if you're pulling the Mortal Soul Stones, you might get a better chance at pulling higher quality stuff, in which case you can sell, get those resources back and then buy more stones. Buy, for example, the Immortal Soul Stone, for example. And then, hopefully you guys can get some additional points out of that as well. So don't totally be discouraged by seeing the calculator not giving you enough points from your initial stash of soul stones, because you can still probably have a little bit more. Also keep in mind that we do have Hydra. The reset will happen within the time frame of the Deck of Fate, so you're going to get some additional soul stones there as well. And then I would also recommend that you would go through Grim Forest and then Centranos, basically just clear every single stage that has a soul stone, obviously pick those up and then contribute it towards the Deck of Fate. That's kind of just extra ways to do some additional points there. There's also going to be energy in these various areas, Doom Tower, Cursed City, Grim Forest. Obviously farm those up and then contribute that towards your Deck of Fate. That's going to help out as well. You do have energy in the clan shop. Don't forget about this. It's the last day of it, so make sure you guys grab it. And then also the other big thing that you guys might have access to that you guys might not have remembered is this tag team energy as well. So that's going to be definitely helpful. Of course, pick all those up and then throw it into a deck of fate so you guys get some additional points, and then finish off Hilvi. And yeah, like I said, this event's going to be 4 days long, so you're going to have some additional time to pick up some additional resources to contribute towards this deck of fate. So anyways, guys, like I said, I'm going to provide the link to the spreadsheet below. I'm human. I do make mistakes, so make sure you guys let me know if I made a mistake on the spreadsheet. I'll jump on it as quickly as possible. I did double check all the numbers, so it does look pretty good to me, and it kind of makes sense. All the data was pulled from HH website as a stage tool, so hopefully they got everything going on there correctly. They did list some 6-star drop rates for some of the levels that didn't have 6-star drop rates, so I did omit them. Yeah, that seemed like the most logical mistake. It was just added in error, so I did omit those. So just a little bit of disclaimer there on the data set. But otherwise, it looks pretty good to me, especially it lines up with previous calculations that I've had and seen. But yeah, let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Hopefully it was helpful for you guys. Best of luck if you guys are going for HILVI and all that. If you guys enjoy the content, make sure you guys like and subscribe for more. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.